Gender-based violence has been on the rise among African countries and has become a very significant issue to deal with. Aga Khan University Graduate School of Media, in partnership with Aga Khan Foundation, has released the findings of a study which examines the root cause and impacts of gender-based violence in sports.
We believe research must translate into action. And that is why we convene spaces like this. I mean, we could have taken this research and published various articles in peer-reviewed journals. And, you know, when we next apply for our promotions, we can say we did this, and it gets you, you know, some few points towards that. But that's not what we're about. We believe that our research must translate into action. And that's why we convene spaces like this, to be able to engage stakeholders, to amplify voices and inform policy and practice.
The study, which was dubbed Exploring Sexual and GBV Against Women in Sports in Kenya, Tanzania and Uganda, has shed light on how entrenched gender inequalities, power imbalances and weak accountability structures contributes to widespread abuse within the sector.
Verbal abuse was found to be the most prevalent form of sexual and gender-based violence, but he also highlighted emotional abuse. Now, majority of the respondents, as you realize, were athletes and younger. And from the interviews, we realized that most of them cannot identify or even label emotional abuse. But later on, you realize that they told us that the most consequential of the forms of SDBV is actually emotional. So in as much as they talk about verbal, and studies have shown that verbal abuse sets the base. Once it is tolerated because it is verbal, it sets the base for other forms of abuse which are emotionally detrimental. So this is part of what we got from the qualitative responses. I would say most coaches use coercion in wooing their targets. There is this very senior club in one of our disciplines, and the coach also happens to be a national coach. So definitely, you know what it means. It means that you don't give in to the advances, then you're out of the national team. Then coaching styles, again, were reported to be contributing to the culture of gender-based violence and sexual exploitation. So we have 49 who say that coaching styles contribute. And one of the key things that came out is what the coach does, not necessarily what the coach says. So the coach has a relationship that is unethical. People think that it is the way to go.
Men are seen to be the main perpetrators of gender-based violence. Reporting for Kurunzi, I'm Brenda Korir.
The sad part of these statistics is that of the murders. They all happened at home, and the alleged suspects are either husbands, wife, boyfriend, or partner, in spaces that anyone should be feeling safer than any other place. Agnes Tirop was murdered in her house, as I just said earlier on. Edith Muthoni was hacked to death at home in Kerugoya, in the house. Damaris Mude was killed in Iten, in the house she was living in. Samson Kandie was murdered in his compound, not in the house, but in the compound of his house, where he lived. And Rebecca Cheptegei was killed at home after alleged partner poured petrol on her and lit the fire. Now, one thing which is very common here is that all these things happened in the house, not in the field of play, not in the training area, not in the Olympics, not in the World Championships, but in the house.